Hello everyone, welcome to post-race review for 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix. What an absolute sensational race we witnessed today. One that had everything. Drama, strategy, rain, crashes, and an absolute dominant drive from the reigning world champion. I'm here to break down all the key moments and highlights from this epic race at Interlagos. Before that, please like and subscribe. So let's dive right in. First up, we have to talk about the aborted start. As the light went out, Lance Stroll car was stranded on the grid, forcing the start to be aborted. This caught out few drivers, including Lando Norris, George Russell, and Yuki Tsunoda, who all took off when the lights changed despite the start being aborted. Now I have to say that it was a pretty basic error from those drivers. An aborted start is not the same as an extra formation lap. It is a procedure all the drivers should know in and out. In the heat of the moment, with so much going through your mind, it's easy to get caught out. But the team should have been on the radio immediately, reminding the drivers to hold position. A bit of an old boy error there. These drivers will now have to go and explain themselves to the stewards, as their action could potentially have championship implication down the line. It's a real shame to see such experienced driver making a mistake like that, but it just shows how intense the pressure can be in Formula 1. Anyways, once the race got underway, it was Max Verstappen who made the most of this tricky condition. Starting 17th after a grid penalty, he carved his way through the field, making some brilliant overtakes to take the lead. Brother, his drive today was truly special. To go from 17th to winning by over 20 seconds is just remarkable. In the 1100 plus race in the F1 history, only 5 have won from 17 or lower on the grid. And the way he did it, passing cars in the wet without DRS, executing the strategy perfectly, it was just a generational drive. Even when his car isn't at the best, Max find a way to win. He is so complete as a driver right now, and he is really starting to cement his legacy as one of the all-time greats. That swing of 62 points in the championship over Lando Norris is just staggering. If that wasn't the kind of bounce back performance you would expect from the world champion, I don't know what you want. It wasn't just Max who excelled in the wet condition. Alpine had a brilliant day with Esteban Ocon finishing second and Pierre Gasly third, their first double podium of the season. Ole, the team principal of Alpine, said it was an unbelievable day and he is still trying to take it all in. When they saw the rain coming, they knew they had to take a gamble and stay out on track. It was a bold call, but it paid off. Both Esteban and Pierre drove brilliantly, staying calm and mistake-free under immense pressure. To get a double podium, it's just incredible. I don't think there's a scenario where they thought they could make that kind of jump in the Constructors' Championship by the end of the day, let alone the season. But the team has been working so hard that they never gave up. This result is a reward for all the dedication and effort. Fantastic stuff. Alpine have really turned their season around in the last few races, haven't they? That upgrade that they bought on Austin seems to have been a real turning point. Let's talk about some other drivers. Lando Norris, who had a tough day, finishing 6th after a few mistakes in a tricky condition. Now, I have to ask, do you really think Lando has what it takes to beat Max Verstappen in the championship battle? If you ask me, I'm not sure he does. Max is just a complete as a driver right now. Even when his car isn't that fast, he finds a way to win. Lando is still developing, and going up against a driver of Max caliber is an incredible tough challenge. Lando has the talent, but he will need to be a near flawless to beat Max over a full season. We saw today that even when Max started 17th, he was able to carve his way through the field and win comfortably. Lando made a few small mistakes that really cost him, and against a driver like Max, you can't afford to do that. What I think is a fair assessment, George Russell also had a strong race, leading early on, but ultimately had to settle on sixth. He was pretty vocal on the radio about his strategic call. As Josh said himself that in his view, if we had stayed out, we could have been leading the race at the restart, ahead of Ocon and Verstappen. Pitting was a wrong call on hindsight. The conditions were incredibly tricky, but we had a comfortable gap, and I felt confident we could have held on. Ultimately, it's one of those days where strategy just didn't work out in our favor. In this weight condition, track position is absolutely crucial, and we gave that up by pitting. I was pretty frustrated at that time because I felt we had the pace to win the race, but that's just how it goes sometimes in Formula One. You make a call you think is right, and it doesn't always pays off. That's just how it goes sometimes in this sports. The teams and driver have to make a split second decision, and sometimes they don't work out. We also have to mention the struggle of some of the other drivers out there. Lewis Hamilton had a difficult day, while Checo had a spin early on and could only manage 11th. And then there were the incident we saw. Both Alex Albon and Nico Hulkenberg had a big crash, while Colapinto and Sainz also had some issues. It was a really tough day for some of the drivers, with the condition catching a lot of them out. When asked Yuki that your AlphaTauri teammate Liam Lawson had a great drive to score point today, how was the car in those weight conditions? He said it was incredibly tricky out there. At times, it felt like we were just floating on the water. Keeping the car on the track was a real challenge. Liam did a fantastic job to bring home some valuable points for the team. As for me, I struggled a bit after the red flag, but we will learn from the experience and come back stronger. Good stuff. It's really impressive to see the drivers who were able to keep it clean on the track in this condition. When asked James how impressed were you by the likes of Ocon, Gasly and Lawson who managed to avoid any mistake, James replied saying he was extremely impressed. The amount of concentration and car control required in those weight conditions was immense. We saw so many drivers spinning and crashing, but those guys kept their cool and brought their car home. That's no easy feat, especially with the pressure they were under. Ocon and Gasly were fighting for a podium, while Lawson was trying to score points on his F1 debut. To do that without putting a wrong foot is a really remarkable. Hats off to them for some brilliant mistake-free drive. It just shows the incredible skill and composure for those top-level drivers. Well, that's about wrap up an absolute sensational Brazilian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen once again proving his class while Alpine enjoying a historic day. What a race! Join us in a couple of weeks as we head to the bright lights of Las Vegas. Until then, take care and goodbye.